It is not mindless, arrogant charity that is wanting in our world, but humble, mindful social justice. That was the premise of the movement called Joy of Giving when I began working on it in 2002. And the reason I started the Joy of Giving movement is to get people involved in the process of giving, but not just giving money, but giving their hands, their heart, and their head towards making a difference in society. Having created this movement and promoted it for the past 15 years, I don't find any joy in the Joy of Giving movement, which is now spread out across India as the Joy of Giving Week, or around the world as the Joy of Sharing or Giving Tuesdays, because most of these movements have been reduced to giving a little money and thinking that you have saved the world. I often meet a lot of people in cocktail circuits who speak about how they gave 3,000 or 4,000 rupees to charitable organizations and how they are doing their bit to save the world. And I find that a little bizarre, because when I ask the same people, do you know the names of the children of your house help? They do not know the names of the children. So if you do not know the names of the children who belong to the house help who work in your homes, what charity are you really doing? You're not bothered to get a medical insurance for your drivers, the people who work in your homes. You're not bothered to figure out the names of the children of your house help. And yet you boast about giving money to a cry or a World Vision and thinking that you've saved the world. Leave alone saving the world, you've not even saved a child, because you don't even bother to look into what's happening with that child who you sponsor because you feel that you have made a contribution to a child's life. But just making that donation is not enough, because you need to ask for accountability, and that accountability is not happening because neither are the NGOs accountable, nor are the CSR foundations accountable, nor are individuals like you and me accountable. Because we have treated giving like that old Hero Honda ad where we say, fill it, shut it, forget it. So we give a little money, take a tax receipt and feel good that we made a difference in the world by giving a little money. But I promise you, that's not really making a difference in the world. And the Joy of Giving Week has somehow been reduced to giving a little money or asking people for used clothes and used newspapers. And that is the reason I say it is mindless, arrogant charity. Because the used clothes that you give are so undignified, and most of the charitable organizations who collect used clothes actually sell them in the second-hand market. Did you know that? And yet you feel that you made a difference in the world. You don't even know what happens with the used clothes that you donate to organizations. You give a little money and you say that you saved the world. How have you saved the world when you've not even figured out what's happening with that child? I know a whole lot of children who've been in child sponsorship programs who are not useful anymore to the NGOs or the charitable organizations because they've grown up into adults now and they've not got the right education, the right career, and hence are reduced to being beggars or sex workers. And that is the truth of what happens with the child sponsorship model. The reason I'm talking about this today is because on the 2nd of October, the Joy of Giving Week will start again, and again there will be a mad rush for people to give a little money or give used clothes to charitable organizations that they would like to donate to. But I would request you to ask for accountability. I would request you to understand that when I started the Joy of Giving movement in 2002, we started the film with one very powerful line, which was, we teach our children how to live with hunger. That was a mother who was saying it in 2002, in the era of India shining. And in today's day and age, most Indians are talking about how India is a huge economic superpower. How are we an India shining or an India superpower when even one child is dying of hunger in our country? And I promise you, there's not one child dying of hunger. There are millions dying every year. And yet we do not understand the plight and the tsunami of hunger. You will see in this country that when a tsunami or an earthquake happens, all the celebrities, the corporates and individuals rise to the occasion to raise funds for the tsunami affected victims. A tsunami killed 10,000 people. There are 10,000 people dying of hunger every day in our country. So there's a tsunami happening in our country every day, and yet we are oblivious and blind to that fact. So what is the Joy of Giving all about? The Joy of Giving is about social justice, which basically is about fairness, which is about empathy, which is about compassion. That what can we do to make a difference in our world? And it goes beyond giving a little money and giving a little clothes. Today, a lot of money donation which is happening is more of a guilt washing station. And I'm not saying this. This was said by Peter Buffett, the son of Warren Buffett, who actually wrote this piece in the New York Times. And I've actually been writing about how I'm not too pleased with the way the joy of giving has shaped up. And the reason I'm not too pleased is because we need to go beyond giving money. We need to understand how can we make a difference in the lives of people who work with us. We should not treat them just like house help and not look into what's happening with their children or their lives. We need to go and understand what is the joy of giving inherently about. The joy of giving inherently is about using our mind, our heart and our hands to make a difference by giving time, involvement and effort and not just money. Failing which, it becomes like the CSR foundations and corporates who build big buildings on orphanage land and then they claim that they are actually training 10 children to become cricketers in the Indian Cricket League. Now I find that a little bizarre because you displaced thousands of children from the orphanage and then you talk about making 10 kids into cricketers. Or it's about another company called Vedanta, which has actually polluted environment, which has completely created a public health and a public environment nuisance in places like Orissa and Andhra. And then they talk about saving the girl child by using a celebrity called Priyanka Chopra. So I think we need to go beyond this showbiz and really understand what the joy of giving is all about, because failing which, it becomes a little like this ad that you're going to see in a few minutes from now.